Okay, today we're diving into the top 5 game changing secrets to maximize your credit in 2024. Whether you're looking to buy a home, finance a car, or just improve your financial health, these tips will definitely pave a pathway to success, especially if you want to improve your credit score. There are really 5 factors of a credit score: your payment history, your credit utilization, the length of your credit history, new credit, and a credit mix. Knowing these factors is like having a roadmap to better credit. I'm sure you know that. But let's break them down so you understand them further. Because once you have a grasp of these 5 factors of credit scoring, you can significantly improve your credit score and your overall financial health. Your awareness of how each of these factors impacts your credit score can take you to places where your credit worthiness and your access to better financial opportunities in the future is increased. Let's talk about payment history. This is probably the most important factor in determining your credit score. You see, it accounts for 35% of your known FICO score. A history of on-time payments will positively impact your credit score, while late or missed payments will certainly hurt it. To improve your credit score, I'm sure you know, you want to make sure to always pay your bills on time and in full. Now, there are a couple of super secret credit techniques that not a lot of people talk about, specifically on this point. And it's not uncommon for people to get into situations where they may be a little late on a payment here and there. But if at all possible, try and communicate this with your creditor or whoever is managing your credit account. Now, there are situations where this is simply not possible. You're going to be late, you're going to maybe miss a payment, and simply, you're not going to be able to communicate this to whomever owns the account. But there are situations where this is possible. Student loans come to mind, and paying for rent, and even mortgages in some cases. Now, if something happened to your source of income, and you know when the funds will be available, this is where you got to let your creditor know. This way, they know they're going to get the payment and that you're not just stiffing them or forgetting to pay. And the other technique is with credit cards. You want to be very wary of paying just the minimum due. Now, that will satisfy the requirement to pay on time and in full, but it will also leave you, that is, just paying the minimum due, it will also leave you in a situation where you could possibly be accruing interest over time. Now, with credit cards, paying the balance in full becomes easier if you manage your credit utilization well, which is the next point. Credit utilization refers to the amount of credit you are using compared to the total credit available to you. From your creditor's perspective, if you use all of the available credit you have, you're behaving in a high-risk manner to the credit card companies, meaning you either don't have a good understanding of credit and are just using your credit card willy-nilly, or you're in a situation where you're forced to use all or most of your credit. In either case, you're signaling to your creditor that you're being risky with the credit that they've allotted to you, and the response to that is to ding your credit score. Now, credit utilization, it accounts for 30% of your FICO score. A lower credit utilization rate should obviously be better for your credit score. Credit utilization basically refers to the amount of your allotted credit limit that you are spending, and there are really 2 ways to look at that metric. And the best way to think about that depends on the individual. Me personally, I prefer to think on a per card basis, simply just the credit limit per credit card or credit card account. Others tend to think in terms of total credit available to them across all their accounts. I find that gets confusing really fast, and depending on when you paid one credit card or when you paid another, your credit utilization could change. So in my mind, I like to keep it simple. And to keep it simple, think of it as a percentage of the credit limit per credit card. If you have a $2,000 credit limit on a card that you have 100% of credit utilization on, that means you spent all $2,000 on that one card. If you want to improve your credit score, you don't want to do that. To be Captain Obvious here, you want to limit your credit to about 30%. That's 30. Credit utilization per card. You see, that indicates to your creditors that you are a sober credit-using individual, and you aren't blowing through all your limits and risking your ability to pay them back in full. And then, of course, there's the length of credit history. The length of your credit history accounts for about 15% of your FICO score. A longer credit history is generally better for your credit score. And to improve this factor, you want to be patient and avoid closing old credit accounts, as it tends to shorten your credit history. The temptation for many people who may have found themselves in credit card debt of some kind and then subsequently worked their way out of that credit card debt, their temptation is, when they get out of that debt, to then close that credit card or credit card account or other debt accounts, and they never find themselves in that situation again. Now, I don't have a problem with that, and that is smart if you didn't gain any discipline from your journey with debt resolution. If you did gain some discipline, consider leaving it open, that credit account that is, and simply exercising that newfound discipline. Your credit score will thank you. Trust me. There are things you want to consider when applying for new credit as well. You see, new credit, that accounts for 10% of your FICO score, and it includes the number of new credit accounts you have opened and the number of recent credit inquiries. To maintain a healthy credit score, be cautious about opening new credit card accounts and only apply for credit when necessary. That sort of goes without saying. And here's a little extra tip for you. A good time to open a new credit card is when you're looking for some awesome credit card perks. You have a spending target in mind to try and hit those and trigger those rewards, keeping in mind your credit utilization, not to hit above 30%. And most importantly, you have savings in the bank, the size of your spending target, which you can then use to pay off that balance in full. That's basically the summation of my super secret credit card technique. More about that in the video card above. But let's talk about your credit mix. The credit mix is the variety of credit accounts that you have, such as credit cards, mortgages, and car loans. It accounts for 10% of your FICO score. A diverse credit mix can improve your credit score as it helps to demonstrate that you have the ability to manage different types of credit. To improve your credit mix, it goes without saying, consider taking on different types of credit accounts. And again, only if you can manage them responsibly. You want to keep in mind that paying interest perpetually is a recipe for accumulating an average net worth. You definitely want to consider using advanced saving techniques combined with credit techniques to supercharge your wealth creation, the kind which I talk about on this channel. Like and subscribe. The other secret that is missed by a lot of the general public is that you want to leverage credit building tools. See, boy bands, rollerblades, and pogs. Remember those little caps that people used to play with? Pogs? Anybody? Well, they're all gone. Why are we still handling our credit like it was the 90s? It's 2024, and technology is on our side. And there are a number of apps and tools designed to build your score step by step. Apps like StellarFi and Kickoff. They report your bills as credit. So as long as you are paying them on time, you're improving your credit score. They also help you to monitor your credit and offer personalized credit building plans. A more traditional way to build your credit that is still relevant in 2024 are secured credit cards, particularly if you've had issues with credit in the past and debt, and you're trying to rebuild your credit score. They're called secured because they're basically debit cards, and the credit issuer, in effect, already has the collateral from you. So if you do not pay the debt on your balance, their debt issuant is, quote unquote, secured. Finance squared, making tough financial concepts plain and simple since 2019. It works like this. You deposit a certain amount of money as collateral, and the credit card issuer extends a line of credit equal to that amount. Using a secured credit card responsibly and making on-time payments, well, it can help you build your credit score over time, especially if you're trying to rebuild your credit score or you're new to credit. Now, there are popular secured credit card options. The Discover It secured credit card, Capital One secured MasterCard, Open Skies secured Visa credit card. There's any number of them, and a lot of channels review credit cards. I definitely think you should check them out. Pick the one that's right for you and build your credit little by little if you're new to credit or you're trying to rebuild your credit. But that takes us to the next point. You want to regularly check your credit report for errors. A lot of people don't know that 20% of people have at least one inaccurate item on their credit report. This has happened to me a couple of times. And believe me, it was sort of embarrassing when I went to get my credit checked for something that I was looking to get, and all of a sudden something pops up that I didn't even know about. But what makes it worse is that when I didn't know about it, and it was inaccurate. So how are you going to know if you do or do not, if you do not have an inaccurate report on your credit, if you don't check it regularly? Credit report errors can come in a number of different varieties. For example, personal information. These include inaccurate names, addresses, and social security numbers. These can occur due to typos or mixing up information with someone who has a similar name or social security number, that kind of thing. There are account status errors as well. These involve inaccurate reports of account statuses, such as, account being closed or being reported as open, late, or delinquent. That's the key one you want to make sure you pay attention to. If you've successfully closed an account or you've successfully paid on an account that was delinquent, you want to make sure that it's being reported as up to date. But also inaccurate dates of last payments, the date a credit account was opened, or date of first delinquency, those can show up as well. There's also balance errors. These include accounts with an inaccurate current balance or an inaccurate credit limit. Let's not forget data management errors. These involve the reinsertion of inaccurate information after it's been corrected. Accounts that appear multiple times with different creditors listed, especially in the case of delinquent account or accounts in collection. Well, these can occur quite often. And inaccurate reporting of the same debt also occurs. Now, identity errors. You're probably very familiar with these, but these include errors made to your identity information, such as typos, wrong information, an account belonging to another person with a similar name to yours, commonly known as a mixed file, and then there are inaccurate accounts resulting from identity theft. That's probably why a lot of us are familiar with that, as identity theft is sort of a big problem in the credit world, as I'm sure you're aware. And you're also probably well aware of the 3 credit bureaus and their individual reports on your credit. You may not be aware that they're not chiseled in granite and that you can dispute them. So don't let that keep you from getting a perfect 850. And here's a bonus one for all of you guys. You want to plan your credit inquiries wisely. You want to make sure you're not just making credit inquiries without a plan. Like many things, if you have a strategy for navigating your credit, you're going to be on a faster path to credit nirvana than if you did not have a strategy. Consistently checking your credit for things at big box stores, to get a fancy new big screen TV, to apply for credit cards, to get the perks, can all have an impact on your credit report. So if you're doing that a lot, you're telling the credit card bureaus that you're hungry for credit. And that can mean a number of things. But to them, it means it may not be quite mature enough to look for credit only when you need it, or only when it is part of a plan that you have put in place. A great way to plan your credit card inquiries is to wait till you have something you want to spend on. You also want to save using interest-bearing accounts of some kind, like certificates of deposits, commonly known as CDs. Then apply for the credit card that gives you the perks that you're looking for, and then, of course, pay it all off as soon as possible. Sounds kind of complicated, right? Luckily for you, I made a video about this very topic. It should be popping up on your screen right now. So be sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications. Leave a comment telling me how smart or dumb I am. And don't you dare forget that a goal without a plan is a wish. A goal with a plan and no action is a wish list. See you in the next video. Peace.